must have been cold there in my shadow, to never have sunlight on your face. You've been content to let me shine. You always want to step behind. I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. Only a face without a name. I never once heard you complain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I'd like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, but you are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I'd like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, but you are the wind beneath my wings. You are the wind beneath my wings.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Rain Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden so plain. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning has broken like the first morning, blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden me, and I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can't stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. Strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulder. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
For this one man, the worries are over. Lie down and rest your head. Your time has been and struggles enough. Put the tractor in the shed. Some years were easy, some were downright hard, but your faith in the land transcended. Put away your tools and rest in peace. The fences have all been mended. You raised a fine family, you worked the land well, and you always followed the sun. Hang up your shovel inside of the shed. Your work here on earth is done. A dedication few possess led your journey through life, sometimes a jagged and stony way. The sun is setting, the cattle are all fed, and here now is the end of your day. Your labour is done, your home now is heaven, no more must you wait. Your legacy lives on, your love of the land, and we will close the gate. We have come together from different places, and we're all at different stages on our journey through life. Our paths are varied, and we look at life in different ways. But there is one thing today that we all have in common, and that is at one point or another, our lives have touched John's life. And so today we've put aside our usual activities, and we gather here to give expression to the thoughts and the feelings that well up inside of us at this time of loss. And also because, in one way or another, John's death affects us all. My name is Simon, and along with our catering staff, Mandy, Fairley and Kathy, and indeed all of the staff here at Parkside, we have been privileged to have been invited to care for John after his death and to be a part of this service. Before we move too far into our service, I would ask that if you haven't already done so, you might like to take a moment to turn your phone off or onto silent as your mark of respect for John. At the conclusion of our service here in the chapel, you're invited to stay on for refreshments, and it's here that you can share with the family your own memories and your own stories of John. There are undoubtedly some people who can't be with us today for varying reasons, and so I'd like to mention that we're thinking of them, as I'm sure that they're taking a few quiet moments to think of all of us here. I think especially at this time of Sylvia. Sylvia and all of their children have already had some time and said their own private and final goodbye to John earlier. And Sylvia is unable to attend today's service on medical advice due to her own health concerns. But we hold her safe and warm in our thoughts today as we begin this service. For those people who might be watching this service via live stream or at a later time, I welcome you also. Your presence is equally as valued, whether you're here in person or in spirit. John was one of those people who understood that a family was a place to belong. And just as he had a place in a loving family, his parents, his siblings, his wife and his children, and then when his children brought their partners into their family, he made sure that they all felt a part of his family. John was the much-loved husband of Sylvia, a proud, a hard-working dad and father-in-law to Derek and Peter, to Heather and Trevor, to Colin and Sandra, of Wendy and Gary, of Heidi and Andrew, Vanessa and Mark, and of course Jeremy. A loved and loving granddad of Hayley, Larissa and Rachel, Danielle, Mark, Karina and Dana, of Zach, of Jordan and Annie, Danica, Matt and Shannon, Bradley, Mitchell, Adam and Ryan, their partners and their families. A short reading I found, I think, describes the sort of dad and grandfather that John was. And it says he never looks for praises. He's never one to boast. He just goes on quietly working for those he loves the most. His dreams are seldom spoken, and his wants are very few, and most of the time his worries will go unspoken too. But he's there, a firm foundation through all our storms of life, a sturdy hand to hold on to in times of stress and strife, a true friend that we can turn to when times are good or bad, one of our greatest blessings, the man that we call Dad. John had a faith, and as a mark of respect for this part of John's life, we're going to listen to the hymn, "The Lord is my shepherd." The words will be displayed on the screens if you wish to follow along.
The Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want. He makes me down to lie in pastures green. He leadeth me the quiet waters by. My soul he doth restore again, and me to walk doth make within the paths of righteousness, in for his own name's sake. Yea, though I walk in death's dark vale, yet will I fear no ill, for thou art with me, and thy rod and staff me comfort still. My table thou hast furnished in presence of my foes. My head thou dost with oil anoint, and my cup overflows. Goodness and mercy all my life shall surely follow me, and in God's house forevermore my dwelling place shall be.
And so as we begin to tell the story of John's life, I'd like to share with you the eulogy that John's family have prepared. St. John Smith. John was born on the 10th of September 1939 in Edmonton, Middlesex, to Edward and Laura Smith. He was a line of many children: Eddie, then John, Michael, Laurie, Neil, and finally Mary. Many people over the years have queried why John was actually named St. John, and the name came from his grandfather, who was reportedly one of the first members of the Enfield St. John's Ambulance Service, hence the name St. John. When fundraising, St. John's Ambulance would use John as their mascot. John had great delight in trying to use his name to his advantage by stating that he was a saint. John's father Edward was Sergeant Major in the Medical Corps and served through World War II on the hospital ships. After the war, John's dad transferred to the Territorial Army and became the caretaker of the Army barracks in Enfield, and this is where the family lived for some time. While living at the barracks, the family would use the Army grey coats as duvets during the winter. John's mum was highly embarrassed and would remove them from the beds whenever they had visitors. One time when they had company, the boys were playing up and their mum shouted up the stairs at them and told them to behave. John amusingly replied, "Eddie's just ripped the sleeve off my duvet," much to his mum's embarrassment. As a young boy, John quite often found himself in all sorts of trouble. But just like his mother Laura, John had a great sense of humour, often playing practical jokes on others. He was always the cheeky one of the family and always had a glint of mischievousness in his eyes. John was often seen around the barracks practising his boxing skills, taught by his father, who was an ABA boxing champion. It was whilst here at the barracks that John's father would hold boxing lessons for all of his sons, where they were required to fight each other. These skills later assisted John in being awarded the title of the Royal Navy Mediterranean Featherweight Boxing Champion. The boys had great delight in going to the local shows and head straight to the boxing ring to take on the show champion. They would send John in first. He would wear the champion down with his quickness and agility, and then each of the brothers would go in, one after another, and would wear the champion down and win the event and take off, splitting the prize money. John's sister Mary recalls a story where their dad was instructed to replace a wire fence at the end of the barracks, and John had a small motorbike, and one day his mum asked him to go and fetch his dad. He decided to take the motorbike and to take Mary along with him. Mary sat between John's legs on the petrol tank, holding on to the handlebars, pretending to steer herself. As they got near to the end of the barracks, John said to Mary, "It's okay, you can let go now, you're in control of it anyway." But Mary panicked and lost concentration, and the bike veered across the grass and straight into their dad's new fence, leaving a rather noticeable large bulge. John was spoken to by their dad, and Mary got away with it, as John didn't dare mention that Mary was the one driving. When John's dad retired from the role of caretaker at the barracks and left the army, the family moved to Bush Hill Park, Enfield, and John very quickly got to know the young lady next door named Sylvia. All of John's brothers joined different military services, and on the 4th of January 1955, at the age of 16, John enlisted into the Royal Navy, where he was posted to HMS Ganges. At HMS Ganges there is a ceremonial mast, similar to that of the old-time tall ships. It's 143 feet high, and on ceremonial occasions the mast is lined by junior sailors, with the sailor standing at the very top of the mast, known as the button boy. At one stage, John also filled this position of button boy.
Now, where are they getting to now, the leaders there?
Well, now they're just approaching what we call the buttock shrouds, and they're just going past the Devil's Elbow, which is perhaps the most difficult part when you're climbing this
Some
part.
come through the hole, which I believe is called the Lubbers.
Yes, that's called the Lover's Hole, and of course that's the easy way up, and no real
Well, they call it easy, still.
no real sailor dares go through the Lover's Hole.
Are all boys in the establishment capable of doing this? There are 82 there, but that's a long way
Yes.
from being the whole complement.
Yes, indeed. All boys, when they join Ganges, have to go up over the mast. It's quite a challenge to the boy joining HMS Ganges,
Indeed, I should think it was.
but once he's achieved it, he never looks back, and he's never worried about going up there anymore.
Do you have any lack of volunteers?
No lack of volunteers,
Not even for button boy.
not even for button boy.
Good luck. Now they're getting to what?
Now you can see the button boy is going up what we call the Jacob's Ladder. And
What's the yard beneath him in that sort of half moon there?
that's the topgallant yard, or upper yard. And
Now the button boy's getting to what?
now he's getting to the trestle trees, the topgallant trestle trees.
And he's a long way from the ground.
And he's a long way from the ground, and that last bit of the climb is not easy. And
Up the bare pole.
up the bare pole, and if it's wet, if it's been raining, or if we were at sea, if it was salty, then it's not easy to get
Then
up.
you had to do it, but of course here, obviously, in bad weather, this wouldn't happen, would it?
In bad weather, normally it wouldn't happen.
Now up he goes onto his butt.
Now he goes on to his butt, yes.
And says he can look down quite happily. What a boy.
Yes. Yes, it's quite high. The ordinary classes, when they come up and they do their training, going over the mast, they're not required to go higher than the half moon there. But all boys, if they wish, and during their recreational periods, can go up to the button. And in fact, quite a number do, of course.
It puts my childhood tree climbing to shame. One of the requirements of being in the Navy was being able to swim, which John could not. One story told was that John was actually thrown overboard, which very quickly gave him the skills that he needed. While in the Navy, John served on the following ships and establishments: the HMS Ganges, filling the position, as we've heard, of button boy; the HMS Jamaica, Fiji first class cruiser; HMS Maidenstone, submarine depot ship; HMS Vernon, shore establishment; HMS Osprey, helicopter training establishment; and the HMS Rothsay, anti-submarine frigate. John served in the Navy for 7 years, achieving the rank of leading seaman. It was whilst in the Navy that John got the opportunity to dock and visit many countries around the Mediterranean. His brother Michael recalled a story that while sitting at the Liverpool station waiting for a train, he spotted a sailor walking along the platform with a stuffed alligator on a lead. As the sailor got closer, he soon realised that it was his brother John. That alligator, that John named Phoebe, was proudly placed on top of the family television. Some of John's children can recall visiting their granny and seeing Phoebe still proudly sitting there in prime position. In John's younger years, he quite liked drinking vodka. The unfortunate side effect of him drinking vodka was the Cossack dancing that followed. Apparently, the story goes that he was quite well known for it. While in the Navy, John had a serious motorbike accident and broke his femur. He was in hospital and traction for a long time. During this time, John developed a relationship with his nurse. She was a devout Catholic, and after being discharged from hospital, John was asked to attend a church service with her. John, not being a big churchgoer in those days, had a few drinks to steady his nerves, and they sat at the back of the church during the service, which John obviously found riveting because he fell asleep. John woke up, cold, alone, and in the dark. His girlfriend, who was not overly impressed, and everyone else had left the church, leaving John asleep on the pew. John woke to discover that he was alone and the church had been locked. A local policeman caught him climbing out the window and thought he was trying to break in, but a lot of smooth talking took place to explain his dilemma to the policeman. When on leave and back home, John would take Sylvia out to the local dances, and it's during these times that their relationship grew. On the 21st of October 1961, John and Sylvia were married at St Stephen's Church in Edmonton, Middlesex. John and Sylvia moved into one of the terrace homes where both parents lived, along with Sylvia's uncle. It was at this time that John decided to leave the Navy and focus on raising a family. It didn't take long before the family started to grow with the arrival of Derek, Heather and Colin. After naval life, John held down various jobs: a chimney sweep, a cabinet maker, a coffin maker, and later on started working at Sainsbury Meatworks. John became a foreman and also became a staunch union representative. It was while working at Sainsbury's that the family relocated to Suffolk as John transferred to the Haverhill processing site. It was here that the arrival of 3 more children occurred: Wendy, Heidi and Vanessa. In 1974, John and Sylvia made the decision to move to Australia. With 6 kids in tow and all the family belongings packed into a shipping container, they headed off to start their new adventure. On arrival to Tasmania, the family stayed for 6 weeks with Dave and Alice Hobbs, an old workmate of John's that had already moved out from England. For 6 weeks, living under one roof was 4 adults and 12 children. Everyone in the house was relieved when John was able to secure a job as manager at Blue Ribbon Meat Products in Camdale, and the family rented a home in Somerset. Christmas of 1974, John and Sylvia purchased their home at Flowerdale, which was the original and current Flowerdale post office. This house had quite some history. It was the original coach house with blacksmith. Then it became the telephone exchange, and then later became the post office. John saw this as a renovator's delight. The house was situated on a 2-acre block. John had the ability to turn his hand to almost anything, and he soon had a thriving vegetable and berry garden that flourished for years. Vegetables and fruit were grown and picked by John to feed his large family, which was still growing with the arrival of Jeremy. Heather had very fond memories of being up in the veggie garden with her dad, sitting under the berry bushes or on hands and knees picking peas, chatting away together. Many stories can be told of the time at Flowerdale. One day, Sam the ram was chasing Wendy around the paddock. Sylvia and the other kids thought this was funny, laughing at the sight of Wendy running around trying to get away from him. Sam the ram butted Wendy really hard, knocking her over, and she swore, saying, "Get that bloody ram away from me." Mum was not impressed, and she growled Wendy and told her that she had to tell her dad what she had said when he got home from work. Well, John came home and Wendy was summoned to the kitchen. "Get that bloody ram away from me," Wendy repeated, waiting for the wrath of her dad. But John just got that sparkle in his eye and burst out laughing, much to Sylvia's disgust and to Wendy's relief. It was tip day, and John had loaded the rubbish in the back of the HR Holden ute, with 5 children squeezed in the front. Heidi was seated right next to the door, sitting on Heather's lap, and was given the instructions not to lean on the door. While travelling home from the tip, Dad reminded her again not to lean on the door, and Heidi told him that the door was locked, and to prove it, she pulled on the door handle as John drove around the corner. Well, the door came flying open, and Heidi still holding onto the door handle with her legs flapping behind her. John grabbed her by the seat of her pants and dragged her back in while the car was still moving. That was the last time that John was ever left responsible for all the kids at once. John was manager of Blue Ribbon Meat Products for many, many years, and being a people's person, he loved participating in shows and exhibitions around the state and interstate marketing the Blue Ribbon products. John had a great time at these shows, particularly the Bernie show, where he would tease the ladies from Mary's Lingerie while they were parading on the catwalk. One year, John joined the ladies on the catwalk, modelling a dressing gown. He was always the larrikin and the life of the party. With his long affiliation with Blue Ribbon, saw him form a lifelong friendship with Joe Cromie, keeping in touch for many, many years. In the early 1980s, John purchased a 50-acre block of land at Morlea, where he bred and raised Murray Grey cattle. Both John and Sylvia loved being at the block. It was a place of joy, filled with family picnics by the barn or near the dam after a hard day of hay carting. It was their dream that one day they would build a home there. Unfortunately, they never got to fulfill that dream. John enjoyed travelling. Twice he went back to England to visit family and friends with Sylvia. Joe Cromie sent him on business trip to Paris, Germany and the Netherlands. With Dad's health starting to fail, Colin and Sandra invited John and Sylvia to join them in New Zealand for their wedding and honeymoon. John thoroughly enjoyed travelling around in the camper van with them, experiencing his life dream of visiting New Zealand. John was not, however, very tech savvy, and this showed when he brought home memorable holiday videos to the family. The majority of the videos were of Mum and Jeremy walking behind him, upside down. He would get the on-off button mixed up and would be videoing when he shouldn't be, and when supposedly videoing, the camera was off. Another time, John and Sylvia were at Elizabethtown Bakery waiting for their order, and the table buzzer went off, and Colin said to Dad, "Quick, answer it, Dad." Well, John picked up the buzzer and said, hello, are you there?" He was regularly reminded of this at family gatherings. In the early 2000s, John saw the opportunity to go into business, and he purchased Buccaneers for Seafood in Wynyard. It was while at Buccaneers that John became well known in the Wynyard community. The business became a family affair, with many of the family working at the shop at some time or another. Vanessa recalls fond memories of working in the shop with her dad, bringing the idea of making cheesecakes to help grow the business. John and Sylvia ran this business and served the community for 15 years. In 2011, John became a councillor for the Wynyard Council. His driving force was to assist fellow community members that were in the same position as himself in regards to changes to the PAL policy that was now preventing many people building on their small rural blocks of land. John served as a councillor for 3 years, and in that time he represented many of the community in relation to numerous matters. John really loved this position and always fought for the underdog. At the last council meeting, a former councillor that served with John, who is now the Mayor of Wynyard, Mary Dunniam, made the following tribute in regards to John's service to the community. Vale John Smith. I wish to acknowledge the passing of ex-councillor John Smith and his contribution to the Waratah Wynyard Council during his time as councillor from 2011 to 2014. As a councillor, John was an exemplary role model who always demonstrated responsibility and accountability to the community and to the council. John also demonstrated a willingness to invest in respectful dialogue with council colleagues while honouring differing opinions, maintaining high integrity with fairness and honesty. John reluctantly resigned from this council due to ill health in 2014. We pass on our condolences to his wife Sylvia and his extended family. John and Sylvia retired in 2016 from Buccaneers due to John's health deteriorating. He missed serving and being a part of his community. His fish and chips were well talked about, and Buccaneers for Seafood was well known for the best fish and chips in the state. John still loved a good feed of fish and chips, and he loved going to fish on the edge at Wivenhoe for his fix. He was always proud that they were using his batter recipe. His legacy is still talked about within this community. In August 2024, John's health had declined and he needed more support, and so he moved into Yarrandoo Nursing Home in Somerset, where he was well looked after. John was known there to be the cheeky one. As the staff arrived for work, John always gave them a cheerful wave and a smile from his window, which was in prime position by the front door. He loved the outings, the games, the music afternoons, and his favourite, most important event was happy hour on a Friday afternoon. John always had a cheerful welcome as the carers came into his room. He kept the catering staff on their toes with his fussy eating, but he didn't give a problem with devouring the desserts. Wendy would often try and get John to join in with bingo afternoons, and persisted she did. On one afternoon, on their strolls around the home, Wendy wheeled her dad past the other residents who were playing bingo, and she asked again if he would like to join in, and he adamantly refused, but yelled out very cheekily as Wendy wheeled him away, "Bingo!" making the other residents laugh. He never lost his cheekiness. John was a devoted family man. He cherished his wife Sylvia, his children, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren. He would often say to Sylvia, "Look what we have created." He will be missed greatly by his immediate family, his extended family both here and in England, and his friends and his community. His smile and his cheekiness will never be forgotten.
I'm coming home, I've done my time. Now I've got to know what is and isn't mine. If you receive my letter telling you I'd soon be free, then you'd know just what to do if you still want me. If you still want me, well, tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put the blame on me. If I don't see a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. Bus driver, please look for me, 'cause I couldn't bear to see what I might see. I'm really still in prison, and my love, she holds the key. A simple yellow ribbon's what I need to set me free. I wrote and told her, please, oh, tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us, put the blame on me. If I don't see a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. Now the whole darn bus is cheering, and I can't believe I see 100 yellow ribbons round the old oak tree.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain mama, take me home, country roads. All my memories gather round her, miner's lady, stranger to blue water. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain mama, take me home, country roads. I hear her voice in the morning hour, she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain mama, take me home, country roads, country roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia. Mountain mama, take me home, country roads, take me home, country roads, take me home, country roads. There's a storm across the valley, clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder. He's an hour away from riding on your prayers up in the sky. 10 days on the road, barely gone. There's a fire softly burning, supper's on the stove. It's the light in your eyes that makes him warm. Hey, it's good to be back home again. Sometimes this old farm feels like a long-lost friend. Yes, and hey, it's good to be back home again. There's all the news to tell him. How'd you spend your time? What's the latest thing the neighbors say? And your mother called last Friday. Sunshine made her cry. You felt the baby move just yesterday. Hey, it's good to be back home again.
got a fantastic tribute from John's grandchildren at the conclusion of the photos, a special book that was presented to him at his 70th birthday. I've got a poem that was written by daughter-in-law Sandra. In memory of St. John, a soul loved by all, a family man, husband, father and friend, a man of the people, loved to the end. He wove joy through our lives with a smile and a grin. His boundless love wrapped us, cherished from within. From Buccaneer's counter for 15 years strong, serving fish, chips and cheer all day long. A counsellor respected, your name widely known, a man of the people whose kindness was shown. Your smile lit the dark, a spark pure and true, a 1 in a million soul, love shining through. Each jest, each embrace kept us thriving, alive. In your boundless care, our family would thrive. Rest in peace, dearest John, our father and our friend. Your love lives forever, beyond the end. John's life came to its end last Wednesday, the 18th of June 2025, at Yarrandoo. His health had declined, and quietly, privately, he passed away peacefully, surrounded by the love and the support of his family. To the living, I am gone. To the sorrowful, I will never return. And to the faithful, I have never left. I cannot be seen, but I can be felt. So as you stand upon the shore, gazing at the beautiful sea, remember me. As you look upon a flower and admire its simplicity, remember me. Remember me in your hearts, in your thoughts, and in your memories of the times we loved, the times we fought, and the times we laughed. For if you always think of me, I will never have gone. John will be laid to rest at a private burial service a little later on this afternoon. We can only imagine the joy of welcome and reunion when the arms of all those he knew who have gone before him reached for him and held him, upon him opening his eyes in that other place of which we know so little. A reading that I found puts it like this: I'm standing on the seashore, a ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty, and I stand and I watch her until she fades onto the horizon. Then someone at my side says, there, she has gone. Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in the mast, the hull and the spars as she was when she left my side. The diminished size and total loss of sight is in me and not in her. And just at that moment, when someone standing beside me says, she is gone, others, upon a distant shore, take up the glad shout, here she comes. And so as we prepare to leave the chapel, I remind you of the family's warm invitation to join them for refreshments, and I ask you to please stand.
Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven? Would it be the same if I saw you in heaven? I must be strong and carry on. stay.